Hello and welcome to this News9 special. Today we are going to talk about the survey being continued at the Gyanvapi Mosque complex. Now, one of the issues that has come out right now is that the Muslim side is threatening to boycott from the survey. The reason being is that they are quite worried about what reports might be coming in as the survey is in fact going on and coming in from officials. So they just want the report to be handed over to the court and shouldn't made be public unless the court wants it to be made public. So right now they are in fact asking for some kind of a hold in all kind of reports coming in and leaking out to the public. This is something that has worried them, and therefore they are asking for some kind of a hold on the intermittent statements coming out from the survey area unless the entire report is in fact made by the ASI, and they don't want certain aspects of it only being leaked, saying that it will raise temperatures in that area as well when it comes to communal tensions, and therefore there should be some kind of responsibility. And if intermittently some kind of unconfirmed reports are being leaked or without any sort of kind of control on the kind of information that is coming out, they are quite upset about it is what they are saying, and therefore they threatened to move away from the survey as such. But meanwhile, security has been increased as the survey continues on the fourth day as well, and we are in fact seeing the second phase of the survey taking place, especially with radar signatures and others being noted as well. Interestingly enough, there are reports coming in saying that there have been dome-like structures that have been found underneath the structure as well, and there are more non-invasive methods of trying to actually ascertain what is the kind of the structure that is found in that area being looked into. So this is the kind of situation that we are seeing. Meanwhile, we have a ground report from the survey area. Let's in fact listen into what our reporter is saying on the ground situation at Gyanvapi.
वहाँ जा रहे हैं और देख रहे हैं, आमतौर पे बहुत सारे दावे किए जा रहे हैं, जो लोग वहाँ नहीं भी रहते हैं वो भी बहुत सारी बातें कह रहे हैं। बेसिकली अभी चल क्या रहा है वहाँ पर, और पूरे कैंपस को आप कितने हिस्सों में बांट सकते हैं जिस तरीके से ASI सर्वे कर रही है?
देखिए, ASI वहाँ पे कोर्ट के आदेश की कंप्लायंस में सर्वे का काम कर रही है। ये एक साइंटिफिक सर्वे है और ASI एक एक्सपर्ट बॉडी है। तो सर्वे वेस्टर्न वॉल की काफ़ी डिटेल्ड स्टडी की जा रही है, फोटोग्राफी, मेजरमेंट।
आप जो वेस्टर्न वॉल की बात करते हैं तो थोड़ा समझा दें कि जहाँ पर पहले नियमित रूप से श्रृंगार गौरी की पूजा।
हाँ, मैं उसी वॉल की बात कर रहा हूँ जहाँ पे नियमित श्रृंगार गौरी की पूजा नवंबर 1993 तक हो रही थी। मैं उसी वेस्टर्न वॉल की पश्चिमी दीवार की मस्जिद की, तथाकथित मस्जिद की पश्चिमी दीवार की बात कर रहा हूँ। उसकी डिटेल्ड स्टडी की जा रही है। जो 3 गुंबद हैं उसकी डिटेल्ड स्टडी की जा रही है, मेजरमेंट किया जा रहा है। उसके अंदर जो हिंदू मंदिर के शिखर है वहाँ पे जाया जा रहा है, वहाँ पे मेजरमेंट और सारा काम किया जा रहा है। इसके बाद जो मस्जिद के अंदर का भाग है वहाँ पे डिटेल्ड स्टडी की जा रही है। तहखानों में काम चल रहा है, तो सारा काम सुचारू रूप से चल रहा है।
तहखाने भी 2 कहे जा रहे हैं, एक व्यास जी की और एक दूसरा वाला हिस्सा।
देखिए, एक तहखाना है जो एजाज जी के कंट्रोल में है, पोजेशन में, उसकी चाबी उनके पास है, तो वहाँ पे भी अभी आगे चल के काम होगा। और जो व्यास जी का तहखाना है वहाँ पे भी काम चल रहा है अभी।
अभी जो एजाज के पास जो तहखाना है पोजीशन में, उसकी चाबी अभी नहीं मिली, ASI वहाँ नहीं पहुँची?
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है। उन्होंने ASI से कोऑपरेट करने की बात कही है और अभी तो वो लॉक है, पर जब ASI वहाँ पे काम करेगी तो वहाँ पे वो अपना उनको पीसफुल पोजीशन देंगे।
विष्णु जी, चूँकि आप पिछले साल कोर्ट कमिश्नर की तरफ से जो सर्वे हो रहा था, सर्वे नहीं मतलब एक तरीके से आप मैपिंग कह सकते हैं, तो वो उस वक्त भी आप थे और इस वक्त भी आप हैं। उस वक्त बहुत सारी चीज़ें मिली थी उस सर्वे में, इस सर्वे में तो बहुत फ़र्क होगा।
बहुत ज़्यादा फ़र्क है, क्योंकि वो वाला सर्वे सिर्फ स्पॉट पोजीशन बता के कोर्ट को रिपोर्ट सबमिट करने का एक डायरेक्शन था। स्पॉट पोजीशन की भाई वहाँ पे आपको क्या क्या चीज़ें दिख रही हैं वो आप एज इट इज़ हमें कोर्ट को इन्फॉर्म करिए। ये वाला सर्वे पूरी डिटेल्ड साइंटिफिक स्टडी है स्ट्रक्चर की। क्या इसके नीचे कोई हिंदू मंदिर के चिन्ह हैं, क्या हिंदू मंदिर के बेस पे बना हुआ है, क्या फ्रेश कंस्ट्रक्शन है कि ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन है, वेस्टर्न वॉल हिंदू मंदिर का रूइन है कि नहीं है, पिलर्स हैं, ये सारी चीज़ों का डिटेल्ड स्टडी हो रहा है। और कौन चीज़ कितनी पुरानी है इसकी भी स्टडी चल रही है। तो ये सारा काम चल रहा है, एक टाइम टेकिंग प्रोसेस है इस सर्वे में। और जो पहले वाला सर्वे हुआ उसमें बहुत फ़र्क है, ये उससे एडवांस स्टेज का सर्वे है। वो इसे कह सकते हैं लेवल 1 का सर्वे था, तो ये लेवल 5 का सर्वे है। और ये काम चल रहा है सुचारू रूप से कोर्ट के डायरेक्शंस के हिसाब से, बिना स्ट्रक्चर को कोई क्षति पहुंचाए हुए, हानि पहुंचाए हुए, नॉन इन्वेजिव मेथड से ASI अपना काम कर रही है।
एक जो मुद्दा ये था कि जहाँ पर वजू खाना था, जहाँ आप कह रहे हैं कि शिवलिंग मिला था और वो मुस्लिम पक्ष कह रहा है फाउंटेन है, वो तो सील है, पर क्या इस सर्वे के बाद आप लोग हिंदू पक्ष ये नहीं चाहेगा कि उसका भी इसी तरीके से साइंटिफिक?
हमारी तो ऑलरेडी इसकी मांग थी, ऑनरेबल इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट 12 मई 2023 को इसके लिए आदेश भी पारित कर चुकी है। मामला सुप्रीम कोर्ट में अंजुमन इंतजामिया सुप्रीम कोर्ट गई हुई है, कह रही है कि जो फाउंटेन जिसको वो कह रहे हैं उसकी जांच ना की जाए। 29 अगस्त को मामला सुनवाई पे आने वाला है और जब सुप्रीम कोर्ट की उसमें क्लियरेंस मिल जाएगी तो उसकी भी जांच होगी।
Well, that was the Hindu side lawyer speaking about what was happening during that survey as it's being done in certain areas where it is being said that as of now it is under lock and key. It will be given to the ASI officials once they go ahead and ask for those keys in that. It will be given peaceful possession, after which they are cooperating with it. To discuss more about it, we are in fact joined in the studio by Brijesh Pandey, who are political editor, as well as we are joined in by Ashish Pandey, advocate Supreme Court of India, as well as Pramod K. Singh, political analyst. Both of them also joins us on this. Now, Brijesh, this particular survey has reached a very crucial phase right now. It's in the second thing. But the biggest pointer is that, you know, as of now there are reports coming, there are domes under the structure, and you know, the Hindu side is saying there are idols, fragments of idols have been found. Of course, this has not been given by the ASI. The ASI's report has to go to the court first. But already there is worry that, you know, this intermittent leaking of information could actually disturb the peace in the area as of now.
Well, yes, there is a distinct possibility of that, and this is the reason why you know, we have read reports about, you know, how structures or you know, the murtis or the trishuls and everything that has been found there inside the structure clearly points to a fact that there was a Hindu temple before it was broken and a masjid built over it. But you know, the Muslim side have objected, and I think, you know, there is some merit in the objection also, that you know, that some sort of narrative is being built even before the official report
ASI survey is, you know,
ASI survey is completed and an official report is submitted to the court. I think only post that anything definitive that can be said, and this is the objection of the Muslim side, and it's very interesting to see, you know, how it pans out from here, because the reports which have been published in several leading Hindi dailies, you know, they are pointing towards what we have just discussed, that there are idols, that there's
a structure
down there, and you know, there are things which clearly points toward that, but you know, we don't know for sure as to whether that is the correct picture that is being painted here or not.
Well, I'll get an advocate Ashish Pandey into the discussion. Ashish Pandey, the question that I have for you is this. Now, we are having a survey being conducted, and the court says that we want to know what the truth about the matter is, and that's why the survey is being conducted. Now, if in case it was revealed that there was a previous structure underneath the complex, then what does the court do about it? Because you have the 1991 Worship Places Act, which in fact doesn't do much about it. But only thing is just information. So what is happening actually? Is this survey meant to gather information? Is that the case?
Yeah, you're correct. You see, right now what we are dealing with a civil suit which is pending before the district court, Varanasi. And if you see the prayer of that particular suit, that is declaratory in nature, which says that there should be declaration to the effect that the plaintiffs, those who are part of that particular suit, should be given a right to perform puja as far as Shangar Gauri and other idols are concerned. Now you see, in order to, now you have mentioned about Places of Worship Act. That act says that whatever was the religious nature of any particular site at the time of independence cannot be changed. Now,
except for Ram Janmabhoomi.
Except for, there are exceptions. I'm coming to that. Just see, the one exception was Ram Janmabhoomi. Another exception is the Ancient Monuments Act 1958, and then there are other certain things are there which can be inferred through judicial interpretations. But you see, the Hindu side, what they are claiming, that even if Places of Worship Act is being brought into picture, what they are saying that at the time of independence, there was a dispute that what is the nature of that structure. So the Places of Worship Act is not applicable. And from another point of view, please understand that this is an act of parliament which was brought in 1991. So there is a question whether the central government can, through legislative means, can amend or repeal that act, and that act is under challenge before Supreme Court. And interestingly, Union of India is shying away from filing any reply in that particular matter. That if I'm not wrong, that matter is coming up on 31st of October. before the Honorable Supreme Court. So we will have to see whether the Places of Worship Act is a constitutionally valid act or not. So even if that act is constitutionally valid, we will have to ascertain whether at the time of independence there was a dispute which was existing, so that
That means
particular
you'll have to
site is
go
not
to the
affected.
legal records, right? Then you have to go to the legal
Yes,
records to
yes,
find out whether
yes.
there was someone had
And
challenged the nature of it.
right now, please understand what we are dealing with. Only that there should be a declaration that the plaintiffs have a right to perform puja at that site. That's
Okay.
why Supreme Court has not granted any yesterday.
Okay, okay. That is the reason why. Let me, in fact, get Mr. Singh into the debate as well. Mr. Singh, you see, the survey is happening. It's been happening for quite. You know, the demand for the survey started from 1991 onwards. Now, from 2019 onwards, you see the kind of speed up in the case that has happened, and then finally a videography was done, and then the report was actually technically leaked, Brijesh, if I'm right. It was leaked to the media instead of, going to the court first. And that created a lot of hullabaloo. And now the same thing is feared from the Muslim side that, there could be leak of information or whatever could be without being properly, going through a process through the court. So that they are probably threatening to boycott from the survey as well. But whatever it is, at the end of the day, this report is going to come. And if there is a structure, what next? What do you think would be the next thing? Are we seeing a second kind of a Ram Janmabhoomi kind of a situation? Or rather, probably you will have this information saying that yes, there was a structure, there is another superimposing structure on top of it, and then there are people who want to claim rights of worship in that place. Probably that could be the only negotiating factor, that there could be some kind of rights or privileges being given, but again, it's all subjective to the owners of the present structure. So is it going to get more complex as we go further, if they say there is a structure underneath this?
See, I belong to this city, Varanasi, and if you ask anyone in Banaras, whosoever comes to pray at Kashi Vishwanath temple, everybody says and believes that it was Avimukteshwar temple, which was demolished by Emperor Aurangzeb. And if you see Nandi looking towards the idol of the Shivling is another indication. What worries Muslim side, as you were talking about, and Vijay was also talking about, that the advocates of Hindu sides are selectively leaking information about the findings. That is property of the court, and the report should be, once it is prepared and ASI submits its report, then it should go to the court, and the court should decide the next course of action. But these things, the sign of swastika, a broken idol of God with half body of God and half body of an animal, and a trident, it has fueled speculation that what people believe that it was a temple that was demolished to make a mosque is coming true. And as somebody was talking about the places of worship at 1991, that excluded exception. Ram Janmabhoomi case was made an exception, that barring this, no other disputed place will be put to survey, and the Places of Worship Act will stay as it is. However, there's an advocate in our panel. I heard him, but there was some disturbance. I would like to know from him also that once it is established, religious symbols are found of indicating that it was a Hindu temple. What will happen to the Places of Worship Act 1991? Will it cease to operate on this portion? And then the things will move towards Mathura. That is another focal point of agitation that started with Babri Masjid and Ayodhya, Mathura and Kashi. And since Varanasi has seen riots in the early 70s, it's a very sensitive area where Kashi Vishwanath and Gyanvapi mosque are situated. And it may definitely fuel tension and may stoke emotions, and that could vitiate the atmosphere, not only in Varanasi but in other parts of the country, as the sentiments are involved. I think the bone of contention remains about the Waju Khana and the structure which we are showing on the screen. The Muslim side says that it's a fountain, and others say that it in fact is a shivling. And it can only be determined, but even in the court order, the Allahabad High Court's order, this area has been left aside. So I think without Waju Khana being surveyed by ASI and carbon dating being done, age of this structure being determined, I think this case will keep lingering on. Let's hope what the ASI's report says, because it's in the advanced stage, what Mr. Vishnu Shankar Jain was telling us, that the first report was was for information, gathering information, but this one is a different type of survey being done with ASI joining using 3D.
But then what is so that is the thing that I was also asking, what is the purpose of that? Because at the end of the day, it is not to, go towards a particular idea or of a case. It's actually information gathering. Because the court says that we want to know the truth of it. So what's the truth of it? The truth about the information about the structure, historical information,
exactly.
whatever it is, that is what they want to know. After that, what else, Brijesh?
See, I think I may not be as well versed as Ms. Pandey here, who know the nitty-gritties of law much better than me. But if I go by the reports which are publishing, and if I go by the observations of the court or the hearing of the court, once the report says, suppose, it's a big suppose, I mean just hypothetically, if the report says that that there has been a structure under it, there have been a temple structure under it, does the courts feel that they will be able to put the genie back in the bottle? No, they will not. And so the point is, the point is that I honestly speaking, I fail to understand what exactly the courts are trying to do. Honestly speaking, it baffles me a bit. I mean,
so that's why
will correct me if I'm wrong, because I have right at the outset said that I don't know the legality of this or the intricacies of it.
But for me also, that is the question. What is the purpose of this?
Once the report comes, and if I'm starting with the if it says that there was a temple under it, then tell me how on earth are you going to put it back? Which court of the world, which court of India will be able to say that no, it's all right, even if it is a temple, let's leave it at that, and the limited purpose was to allow the women devotees to
some rights to be
do a Gauri Shingar and all.
So I think that's what the idea was. Like I wanted to know exactly that only. Why is it that when a survey is being given, there's so much of, you have an ASI survey being given, and you're saying, you limited it in those words saying that to find out what the truth is about the structure. But after that, what? Once you have that information, what is it for your libraries in the court that you're going to do about it? Of course, I think we'll get Ashish Mandi. Is it just to be in the library of a court with all this information saying that, or giving a historical perspective from the ASI? After that, what? Because of course, as Brijesh is saying, the genie can't be put back into the bottle once it's out. So what is the exact purpose of carrying out the survey, in fact?
You are right. That's why everyone is, talking about what is going to be the next step. You see, in every case, courts are limited by what is prayed in that particular suit. So let's say, hypothetically, let's presume there are certain evidences are found which are in favor of Hindu side, and plaintiffs in this particular case are allowed to continue with the puja. They are claiming that earlier their puja was happening at that place, then they were stopped. Now they again want that declaratory relief in nature. So now, if evidence is there, and let me tell you one thing very frankly, the genie is not in the bottle. So if you
genie is already out, is what you're saying.
It is already out there. So if you see the pictures, from certain angles, if you look at the site, you will know what is happening there. Everyone is well aware. We need not to say it. But then once there is a declaration in their favor, then the next step would be there may be a suit for possession, because now they have established the nature of that particular site at the time of independence was of a controversial nature, in the sense that both the parties had claim and there are certain evidence which are in favor of Hindu side. So a next limb of court cases will come into picture, and we will say this is going to be a very long drawn battle. that's the next step. We all know what is going to happen in this particular case.
So you're saying it's going to be a long
Well, I mean,
battle.
if you go by the statement of UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath,
No, he said
to be any
all the
indication,
walls are
to call Gyanvapi a masjid will be a travesty of justice. So
If you
it
allow
clearly
me, I
points
can
towards,
present certain pictures.
Yes, Ashish.
I think
One second, Mr. Ashish wanted to say something. Yes, I'll come back to you, Mr. Singh. Yes, you can go
Please
ahead.
continue. I'm just trying to find out a few pictures, and I'll show you that there is no need for ASI survey. ASI survey, obviously, I understand there's a legal process which is being conducted for the purpose of collecting evidence. But as far as whether genie is in the bottle or it's outside, there are ample evidence which says that genie is already outside the bottle.
exactly.
Yes, Mr. Singh. Yes, Mr. Singh. No.
If you go toward the facade, then you will say that it's a mosque. If you come on the backside, you can see with your naked eyes that it's a different structure. It appears that those domes were just superimposed on that structure because the style is totally different. The architecture, two are diametrically opposite architectures. And if the ASI finding says that it was a Hindu temple, then I think the long drawn battle will start. And there is also, if you ask people in Varanasi, the two that we are talking about, the two walls, जिसको आप तहखाना बोल रहे हैं, कि Ma Ganga used to enter the base of Shiva temple to do abhishek of Mahadev during month of Sawan. So it's a matter of faith, and it's the currency is it's gaining currency that today, if not today, tomorrow, or maybe a day after tomorrow, or after a few months or years, it will once become a Mahadev temple that it used to be, and the country will have to brace itself for that. I think that won't be that easy because that 1937 Deen Muhammad verdict is also in the way Muslim side often quotes that. If you go through Deen Muhammad versus Secretary State judgment that said that it was the Waqf property and it was the Gyanvapi mass complex was handed over to Muslim side, the Supreme Court will have to deal with that also because even if that was not independent, it was British India, but the court was the same.
Well, let me get in fact Brajesh. Brajesh, you know, when 1947, when the country became independent, we inherited a lot of our historical negativities as well, and we focused on our positivity. So we said we are a composite culture, we have influences of all religions and because in this country, this is the only country in the world, probably you will find every religion having a presence, including the Jewish religion also you have the Zoroastrians are wiped out from most of Middle East, but they are here. You have the fire temples there. You'll have every religion presented in this country, all right? So if we in fact try to go through the 1947 ideas that we have a republic with a composite and a very varied culture, is it worth going back into digging up historical negativities?
There are two ways to go about it, Verghese. The first thing is that, you know, that irrespective of sentiment, we are governed by rule of law. We are governed by rule of law, and the first thing is that, you know, if there is 1991 judgment of the, a law passed by the parliament, then we'll have to stick to the law. So there's no denying the fact, and it is not. I mean, my point is, when do you stop? Where do you stop?
That is my question. Like,
and the second part is,
it's
not that I'm saying. It's like, you know, the RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat had said this.
You can't keep digging.
You can't keep on looking for temples inside every masjid. And the fact is that when do you stop? And once you start practicing the rule of majority, then it's a very slippery slope. And then if this is the case, then why stop at this only? If this is the case, then why stop at this only? Then every single the temple should be freed. Why then discriminate against X temple or Y temple? So the point is, that is the reason why I'm saying. And when I said the genie, what I meant was that, you know, the genie is outside the bottle. You can't put it back. So the purpose of that survey defeats the larger thing. What was the prayer? What was the original prayer? The original prayer was that those women wanted the right to worship at that wall. And from there till this, it is like, you know, the courts are themselves opening doors where none is required.
So we
So
are.
I mean, you can have, see, faith and all is absolutely all right, but then you have a law for a reason. Then you started with Mathura, then you will start with something else. You will start with something else. Where do you stop? You don't know. And I mean, either the court says that yes, this is what has come out, and now let's go ahead with the construction. Then this survey suits that particular thing to its entirety. Otherwise, what was the original petition and what is being ordered by the court? So it's a bit baffling, at least to my understanding of the way things are.
Well, okay, we have some reactions coming in. Let's listen in, and we'll come to Mr. Singh. Mr. Singh wanted to speak something, but just after these reactions, yeah.
ये था
एसआई अपने काम को बड़े सिस्टम से, बड़े सुचारू रूप से, वैज्ञानिक तरीके से पूरी यूनिट, पूरी टीम उनकी कार्रवाई कर रही है। तमाम मेजरमेंट कर रहे हैं, तमाम जो है सारे क्षेत्रों के तहखाने से लेकर गुंबद तक वो मेजरमेंट कर रहे हैं। इसमें समय लगेगा। आज भी गुंबद पे इनका काम होगा, वेस्टर्न वॉल पे कर ही रहे हैं। वहाँ जो तमाम जो मलबे हैं उनके पीछे इनकी टीम काम कर रही है। तहखाने की साफ सफाई हो, इसकी भी व्यवस्था किया जा रहा है, क्योंकि मलबे भरे पड़े हैं तहखाने में, व्यास जी के तहखाने में। तो हमें लगता है कि ये सारी चीज़ें होंगी और इसी को आज जो है ये आगे बढ़ाएंगे। ये मेजरमेंट कर रहे हैं, मैपिंग कर रहे हैं, वैज्ञानिक तरीके से एनालिसिस कर रहे हैं, स्टडी करेंगे। स्टडी करने के बाद जो भी एनालिसिस के बाद जो रिजल्ट आएगा वो कोर्ट में रिपोर्ट अपनी सबमिट करेंगे। ये अपने हिसाब से वैज्ञानिक तरीके से, सिस्टमेटिक से, तो आज भी वही करेंगे, उसी काम को आगे बढ़ाएंगे।
आज भी सर्वे हमारे समस्या निवारण इंतजाम में, आज जैसे कल अफवाह था कि सहयोग नहीं करेंगे, सहयोग किए, आज भी सहयोग करेंगे। टीम भी आएगी। थोड़ी सी आज विलम्ब से आ सकते हैं टीम, क्योंकि सोमवार है, भीड़ है, और प्रशासनिक व्यवस्था भीड़ को देखते हुए चूँकि जो टीम है उनकी संख्या 40 के लगभग है, और वाहन से आते हैं, वाहनों की संख्या उसी अनुसार बढ़ती है 12 की संख्या में, तो थोड़ा सा लेट से शुरू होगा, लेकिन सर्वे होगा और बिना बाधा के सर्वे चल रहा है, आज भी चलेगा। देखिए, स्टेज की जहाँ तक बात कर रहे हैं, एक एक बिंदु पर गहराई से देख रहे हैं। कल जो गुंबज पर किए थे, हमको लगता है गुंबज का भी पूरा नहीं हो पाया है कि है, आज फिर करेंगे, यहाँ से शुरू करेंगे, फिर बता दिया जाएगा।
Well, let me get, in fact, Mr. Singh, you wanted to make a statement just before we went to take those reactions, and I'll come to you, Mr. Pandey.
I'm adding to what Vijay was telling, speaking. There is one contentious issue called Bhojshala in Madhya Pradesh. It's of the same dimension that we are witnessing in Varanasi. And if you go to Jaunpur district, that is 58 kilometers from Varanasi, there is one Atala Masjid. People say it used to be Atala Devi's Masjid, and it was demolished by Aurangzeb. So it will once findings are out, it will open Pandora's box, and I agree with Brajesh that where are we going to stop? There is another the mosque, Qutub al-Islam mosque in Delhi. If you go there, at the plaque of ASI that says 27 temples were demolished. It's written on the plaque to create space for this mosque. So there are many issues. It's an unending story.
It's going to be an unending story. Yes, Mr. Pandey, you were also trying to give a statement on it.
Yeah, 2 points. First, I totally agree with both of you that there should be a line where we must stop. As you rightly pointed out, India is a home of almost every religion, and we are very proud of our diversity. So anything which goes against it, create communal tensions, should be avoided. So the purpose behind 1991 Act was the same. But from legal point of view, if you see, as far as this particular case is concerned, I personally believe that 1991 Act may not be a big hurdle, although this is for the honorable courts to decide. Because first, challenge to 1991 Act is still pending before Honorable Supreme Court of India on the basis of same grounds which we are taking to justify that 1991 Act should be applicable. The grounds which have been raised in that particular petition is that this is discriminatory against one particular community. In 1991, an Act has been brought in by the Parliament, and one community has been completely excluded from its legal rights. All the suits which were pending at that date have been abated. But secondly, most important thing is, the Act applies only to those cases where religious nature of a particular site was in question at the time of independence. Hindu side, what they are claiming at this point in time, that this particular act is not applicable because at the time of independence, puja was taking place. So that case was particularly pending at that point in time. And thirdly, if the government intends to repeal that particular act, then the government has all the power to do so. But the fact remains, because in Varanasi, I mean, our other panelist is from Varanasi itself. I have been to Banaras quite a few times, and there is a temple, and people are very happy worshipping Lord Shiva over there. So, if there is a need to do all these things, so purpose must be identified. What is the requirement?
What is the requirement? I mean, we are trying to actually find out what is, because I've been perplexed also by the kind of case. But since one thing about Brijesh, I think I'll get you the political editor in you. Ram Janmabhoomi has reached its end, probably as a currency for politics. Is this the new currency that we are looking at?
Oh, absolutely. But you had any doubt about that? And I'm surprised you had any doubt about that.
No, because after this, we are looking at Mathura also.
Of course you will.
Okay.
See, but you please try to understand. The second you do, the thing is that when I was talking about the genie and all, the point is that once the report comes in, there's no way on God's green earth that you will keep the content of the report secret. The contents of the report will come out. It has already started filtering in. It has already started making the splash of TV channels, newspapers and all. God forbid if there is a report contrary to that, even then it'll be requiring a solid administrative acumen to even convince people that no, that report is right and what has been published is wrong. So I agree with one side that already a narrative has been built to say that this is nothing but a temple. And the fact is that if the report says it, then who is going to stop it? Do you think that a particular politician will have the will? See, the point is that in BJP and all, the RSS Sar Sangh Chalak is like the topmost authority. Ever since its existence, and Pramodji, we know each other, he is my senior, will testify to that ever since RSS has been formed, till this date, no Sarsang Chalak has been abused left, right and center by any Tom, Dick and Harry. Ever since when he made the statement post what is happening in Varanasi, when he said that we should not start looking for mandirs inside every masjid. I cannot even repeat what he was called on social media, Twitter. He was called all kind of names and was simply called nothing short of get lost, because now the battle of the fringe or the battle of Hindutva doesn't rest on RSS. Now there is a separate cadre ready. So, if you are part of the process, absolutely all right. But if you feel that you are not going to influence the process to tailor it to some other side, then you are very sadly mistaken.
This was actually harsh words about harsh reality. That's what it is, harsh reality that was there.
Tell me, when was the last time anybody has seen any Hindu or Hindu brigade abusing RSS Sarsang Chalak? As Dr. Mohan Bhagwat was at the receiving end when this particular statement came.
But then also, Brijesh, at the end of the day, there is a constitution, right? We have actually moved towards some kind of a secular republic, and we are trying to, in fact, say that, okay, there are historical negativities. That we cannot deny. This country has had its empires, its religious empires. There is a lot of, historical negativity. And see, I'm coming from the south, and I'll tell you one thing about from there in Kerala what happened, because I know about the history. Martanda Varma, when in the 17th century, he started to establish the state of Travancore. As a king, I'm telling you, as a king, he destroyed the religious structures of both Hindus, Christians and Muslims who supported his rivals. He destroyed those structures as a king. Now, how do you define a person like that? So, the thing is, are we reading too much of the politics of, those periods of how the kings actually played at that time, and we are reading it too much into our modern day, saying that it is a victimization of an entire group of people? Because this same narrative, if power changes in the next 300, 400, 500 years, that's how the history of the world has been going on. The same narrative will be pulled up, saying that there was a structure over here, it was brought down, it was built, and it was rebuilt. This is going to be the situation.
This is the slippery
slope that we have entered.
This is the slippery slope of majoritarianism. Say that if you allow power to dictate terms, then you never know which anybody who has power will try to dictate terms to you.
Well, we have Mr. Singh getting in.
Yeah, see, so Supreme Court has given time to the centre that it should file its reply on the clutch of pleas challenging the very existence of places was in 1991. The date has been fixed, 31st October 2023 is the date. If the survey that is going on, ongoing survey, and ASI's report is submitted and it's proved that it was a temple below the mosque, I think the government will be under tremendous pressure to repeal the act and pay way for Mahadev temple, restoration of Bhagwan Shiv temple in Varanasi.
Well, in fact, I have very few minutes left in the show, so I'll just go to Mr. Pandey and ask him about this. Repealing of 1991 for the current government is easy because they have the majority in it. But still, do you think it is going to be an easy process as said? Because Mr. Singh is right. If there is something, there's going to be humongous pressure on the government on this 1991 Act. Is it going to be an easy thing for them?
And thanks that you got this question for discussion. You see, as Pramodji has said, that a petition against 1991 Act is pending. So one of the argument in that particular case is because during Ayodhya judgment, 5 judges Constitution bench made certain remarks that which were seen in favor of this particular act. So one of the argument which is being taken before Honorable Supreme Court is that because court upheld 1991 judgment, so the constitutionality of that cannot be challenged. But at the same time, other side is claiming because those observations were only arbiter dicta, not the ratio decidendum. So the question is still open, and the constitutional validity of that act can be challenged. And we must keep this thing also in mind. If the court decides that the act is constitutionally valid, so under the same constitution, the government has the power to repeal that act through a legislative action. So a number of things will happen in future. We will have to wait and see. And we certainly hope that everything, whatever is happening in this particular case, will not vitiate the communal harmony in the society and the country.
Well, Brijesh, are we going to put a leg into something that we won't be able to pull out? Because you've been saying the genie out of the bottle, but still, we have seen one face of it. Are we going to actually take the next leg also and put it into something of a quicksand?
Well, I don't see anything going back. And I will be romantic if I say that as Ashish very rightly said that it shouldn't be vitiating the communal harmony, but I don't see it happening in the ground. Your leg is not there, your leg is firmly planted in the middle, and I don't see any going back right now post what is happening. I'll love to be proven wrong, but I don't see any going back as far as this particular issue is concerned.
Well, in fact, Mr. Singh, you wanted to say something?
This case will reach its finality. There is no going back. People are not going to accept it. The sentiments are attached. This Kasi Vishwanath temple issue just cannot be brushed below the carpet anymore.
All right. So, in fact, we have come to an end of this discussion. The thing is that there is so much of historicity associated with it, so much of current politics associated with it, and also the question of aspirations, sentiments of communities associated with it. Hope everybody knows what they are actually doing, because as Brijesh was saying, the genie is out of the bottle already, and probably we might be moving in a direction which is going to be very difficult to actually negotiate. But then let's wait and see what is going to happen. Well, on the other side, we are talking about how in the United Nations, India is in fact trying to find itself in a position where it will be the permanent member. But at the same time, one of the issues that has in fact come out is that the previous P5, as they call it, the powerful 5 nations, have been blocking attempts of trying to reform this. So how does India try to find its place in the UNSC as well as in the United Nations? That's on the other side.
GPT. It can generate codes and human-like responses through text, write stories, and do a lot more.
I work in a newsroom with anchors, researchers and scriptwriters, graphic artists, producers, video editors, camera crew. But does a newsroom really need them today?
All of us have to think about unique and distinctive value addition that cannot be automated or repeated or replaced by a machine.
ChatGPT may kill many companies.
A human has to be in the loop with an ability to control this.
Dark Side of the Boom. Streaming now.
With all this gear, you must be wondering if I'm climbing a mountain. Well, let me give you a wider look of this place. This is Asia's largest mountain of shame.
A mountain of waste, almost the height of the Qutub Minar.
When you enter capital cities of some of the biggest countries in the world, you don't have 3 garbage mountains waiting to welcome you, depending on whichever side of the city you enter from.
The thing is that a lot of times we talk about landfills only when there's a fire at the landfill. You need to understand that a landfill is at fire almost throughout the year. It's only when the firefighters are not able to douse the fire is when it actually catches the nation's attention, the city's attention, or media attention.
The towering landfills worsen one of Delhi's biggest problems: pollution.
यहाँ पर आप रात को आओ, दिन में आओ, आप 1 घंटे बैठ नहीं सकते बाहर। इतनी धूल, प्रदूषण, महक, आप खाना भी नहीं खा सकते बाहर बैठ के।
Life around the landfill is a curse.
हमारे घर में जो बड़े हैं उन्हें अस्थमा के वो पेशेंट है, आए दिन उनको नेबुलाइजर लगाना पड़ता है।
डॉक्टर ने मुझे ये चीज बोला कि यहाँ का एरिया छोड़ के कहीं और चाहिए।
Delhi's garbage mountains are now a fetid symbol of the national capital's trash problem. The question is, who is to be blamed? Watch Delhi's Garbage Mountains. Streaming on News9 Plus for the Genflix.
This is Gurugram, a fast-growing satellite city of the national capital. High-rises dot its affluent neighborhoods. It is the darling of real estate giants in northern India. Gurugram is like every other swanky Indian city, embracing development at lightning speed. But such development always comes with a hefty price.
Something like Hanuman, going away with the hill. This is what was happening.
It is going to be disastrous for Northwest India in terms of our water security, in terms of the climate change that is happening, in terms of our groundwater, in terms of pollution.
Aravallis have 2 major kind of threats. One is real estate, and the other is mining.
The Aravallis. From Wazirabad in Delhi to Palanpur in Gujarat, the Aravallis stretch across 692 kilometers. They are estimated to be more than 1 billion years old. They act as a natural barrier and shield more than 4.6 crore people in Delhi NCR from the elements. But the Aravallis are bleeding.
इस वक्त हम हरियाणा के अरावली पहाड़ी इलाके में खड़े हैं और ये वो क्राइम सीन है जहां पर आज नूह जिले के एक डिप्टी एसपी की खनन माफियाओं ने डंपर से कुचलकर हत्या कर दी है।
We arrested 12 persons who were linked with this case, associated in different kind of activities.
The mining mafia is brazen. Even policemen are not safe. Within weeks of DSP Surinder Singh's murder, the mafia struck again. 50 men attacked cops who were conducting a raid on illegal mining operations. In the last decade, at least 50 police and government officials have been attacked.
We were on a routine checking, night checking. So we stopped them, we checked them, we found them that they are heavily overloaded and an action needed to be taken against them. So while we were checking them, one of the driver tried to fled away from the spot. And while he was doing so, he hit my official vehicle and we escaped a serious accident.
Nuh, Panchgaon and Mewat, along with Haryana-Rajasthan border, are hubs of illegal mining. 239 FIRs related to illegal mining have been registered in Haryana itself in the last 2 years. We travel to Panchgaon, the heart of the illegal mining operations. Every single house in its dusty streets stands on a 3-meter plinth made of quartz stone, illegally mined from the Aravalis.